Hey Nippers, it's me, Wild Neptune. Just got back from pulling Marciana, so let's get testing. Alright, so here is Marciana. Unfortunately, she's a character that I cannot show that much on the videos here, but here are the skills, in just in case we've forgotten about them. She's only 767, because I am out of mats, actually. I'm actually out of almost everything now after this summer pulls and everything like that. So we do want to try it though on two different types of bosses. One just by the boss itself, and another one maybe with like ads and stuff like that. Just see how she goes on some of that stuff over there. So we'll have these going over here. As far as the gear goes, she only has two pieces that are overloaded, and that is because I just don't have enough upgrade materials to upgrade any of the gear. I'm also missing a piece of gear for her because for the life of me, I thought she was Missilus, but no, she's Elysion. So, oh well. I am I'm missing the gloves, but she has two pieces upgraded, and she actually has pretty good lines on those two pieces. She has almost 50% elemental and just one attack line, which was like an 11%, so that's not bad. She also has a max ammo, and she has like a couple other lines too that just okay, they're there. But again, really happy with the luck on those two single rock rolls there. Hopefully I'll be able to get her up and then get another iron character up, like maybe Snow White, for the Iron Raid coming up. We'll have to see. But yeah, see, attraction level 1, I'm trying to save my ticket things for the new treasure units coming up soon to see what they are. Yes, max limit break. It took me more than I wanted to spend on her. It took me 200 pulls for MLB here, which is, like, not that the best. I got some good, like, other units on the way there, but definitely wish it would have been less than that. See my gems now down to 20k, unfortunately, there. But yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, let's go to testing. Alright, so this will be the first one we're going to do. We're going to be using this team first, because this is kind of like the standard team people use for like a lot of meta stuff. Crown, Star Anise, Referee Red Hood, and then we have, Helm. Some people use Privity or main mast here instead, depending. But I think most people will have access to Helm, so that's what we have here. And then obviously we have the new character, Summer Marciana, who we'll be testing right now. In case you're wondering about the Referee Red Hood, her gear is decent. Like, I think decent. She's one of my better gear units that I have. And even then, I say she's only, pretty good. But yeah, this is not to see if Marciana is going to beat Rapid Red Hood, because obviously she's not in this case, just to see where she's kind of going to get to. Because remember, Marciana is not built all the way yet. We are going to get there over time. So I'll just hop in, do this one. Remember, this is a single boss with no ads or anything like that. So part of her kit won't even activate, unfortunately. A small part, but a part of it nonetheless. Will not activate. But yeah, and here we go. So hopefully this goes pretty decently for her and everything like that. As just keep doing that as the boss, and this is just going to be how it goes. So I will be back with the results in just a moment. Okay, so about 13 bill with the team, and here are her numbers right here. So a little under like half of every method. I would say about 40%, which is not that bad actually. Just considering how much better geared the Rapid Method is, and also the benefit of first burst and everything like that. So I would say pretty respectable. But I do want to try her out on a couple of different teams. So let's go for a new one right after this right here. Alright, so this one up here, I think might be a little more reasonable in what you might expect. So we have Siren, Maids, Marciana, and then we also have Raven here. Obviously, Raven's a call-up unit, so not everyone will have her. But for the purpose of here, I believe she's a pretty nice power marker for Marciana right now. So anyway, here's what Raven's like right now. Here are her current gears, just way of working with. She is okay. Not the greatest, but she does have some good elemental, so I do expect her to pull out some okay numbers right here. But just like last time, we're just gonna go in and just see how it works. Obviously, I don't expect the numbers to be better, but we will see nonetheless. All right, here we are. So a lot closer, actually. 2.3 compared to about 2.9 over here. So, coming in at like, I don't know, with like quick math, like 60% of the damage. More, actually, definitely close like 70%, something like that, of Raven's damage. And again, that's with only 2 pieces of gear that are overloaded and with the worst doll and everything like that. So, I would say pretty big win in terms of power overall. And again, only going to be for iron bosses. Like Raven is actually a pretty decent neutral damage dealer overall. All of Marciana's kit is tailored to be only used against iron weak bosses. Alright, so we're gonna simulate this one against the timer over here. We're doing the 1.5 minutes because the 3-minute one, it actually stops spawning ads after you kill all of them, I found out. So that doesn't really help our case here. So hopefully this gives us the best opportunity to have ads up most of the time. We're going to be using Cindy here as our other burst 3. Now, the Cindy is fully overloaded. However, her lines aren't really that good, unfortunately. However, we'll just see how this goes, and I'll show you the results in a moment here. Alrighty, 6.5. So, okay. She is 2.3. So I thought it's 2.5. That's 3 compared to 1. So about half of Cinderella's damage. Now, I did do another test before where the recording got messed up. It was with kind of noobish units instead of the Cindy. I mean, with the Cindy and Marciana. And Marciana did much, much worse. I definitely think that Marciana needs, decent units around her to be better. Obviously, other units are going to be, better too, with like better supports like Crown and Helm and Anise. But, Marciana really, really struggled when you kind of used it with more of the free-to-play type. I say free-to-play, but like the starter units that people usually use when they're first starting out in the game. So do keep that in mind that if you are a newer player, that she might not be the best character for you to build and use right now. Alright, now the age-old question, should you pull the unit? Well, some positives on why you should pull. One, she looks great, obviously. It's a shame that YouTube won't let me show her for that long. 2, she's limited, so if she ends up being really good and you skip her, well, you have to wait a whole year to try to get her again, unfortunately, so there is that. Some cons is that she is pretty much pigeonholed to be a solo raid unit only. Maybe Union Raid, like that's yet to be seen. I guess now in Union Raid you can use Rapid Runners exclusively as a fire element unit, and then I guess you have New Cinderella and Marciana as Union Raid. But even then, the actual raid would have to be pretty specific right there. But in solo raid, Iron is such a overall weak element, or at least it was, that she will definitely see use in Iron raids for quite a while, I would say. So if you are somebody who's interested in solo raid, she's definitely going to be a decent pickup to have. Obviously, try to get Cinderella first, Summer Cindy, but after that, I would say Marciana, not a bad pickup right there. Now, PvP, unfortunately, her kit does not work in PvP because it specifies Raptors, and Nikkes are not Raptors for the purposes of PvP. So, unfortunately, she's kind of a brick right there. Now, in terms of story mode, unfortunately, the test I did, she doesn't seem to be really that good for general mobbing, things like that. They're just much, much better option in story mode at basically all levels of play. Definitely not worth it at that point. And if you are a player who is really interested in pushing story, you are definitely not using Marciana. You're going to be a little more optimized than that, I would say. And if you don't care, then it doesn't really matter what you're using at that point. So, yeah, she is a good unit. Around, between Raven and Eve levels, I would say, probably a little bit worse than Raven because Raven is more flexible. Raven has a little better, not a little bit, like a lot better neutral damage. So you could bring Raven as like a neutral burst to a solo raid and not be that upset about it. But Marciana's kit just doesn't work if the enemy is not Iron Weak. Eve, same thing. Eve has to be used against Iron Weak bosses, but it does seem like, at least from what I've gathered, that Marciana will put out more damage overall than Eve gives in her buffs and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll use them on the same teams, but they are gonna be probably a pretty good unit, Marciana that is. Alright, so I hope you found this helpful. If you did, a like, comment, subscription would be greatly appreciated. Anyways, I am Wild Neptune. Been a good one. Till next time.